Good morning, everyone. Hello. In this video, I am going to show you how to solve quadratic equations by completing the square. Okay. So I list out the steps. Okay. So let's read together the first step. Okay. So step one, you're going to collect the variable terms on the left side and the constant on the right. Okay. So what do you mean by variable terms? So the variable term represent x squared and 6x. So you want to keep the variable terms on the left, okay? And you want to move the variable, the constant, which is negative 27 to the other side, on the right side of the equal sign. So for step one, okay, since you want to collect, you want the variable to stay. So let me rewrite the equation then. So okay, supposed to be 6x, sorry, minus 27 equal to 0. So we want the variable x to so x and 6x to stay. So one needs to go is negative 27. So for negative 27 to go, I need to add 27 on both sides. So when adding 27 on both sides, I end up having x squared plus 6x space equal to 27. Okay, so that's step one. Okay, so we have collected the variable terms on the left of the side, okay, and the constant on the right. So now step two, as needed, divide both sides by 8 to make the coefficient of x squared to be 1. So as you can tell here, x squared as for coefficient 1, okay? So the number in front of x squared, the coefficient of x squared is 1. If you don't see a number, it's 1. Why? Because 1 times x squared is x squared. So we don't need to divide by anything. So you leave it alone. Now, for step 3, you have to complete the square. So I don't need to do step 2 for this problem, for this example. So I'm going to skip to step 3. So step 3 means it says complete the square by adding b over 2 squared to both sides. So again, you want to write as a square. Okay, you want to write the left side as a square. So yeah, what number then would you add to this quadratic expression here, x squared plus 6x? So you can write the expression as a square, as a perfect square trinomial. You want this expression to be a perfect square trinomial. So what would you do? Okay, the trick here is you want to take b, and what does b represent? B represents the number in front of x. So you want to take b here, which is 6. Okay, so the b here, let me write here. So you have b, okay, b over 2, everything squared, is what? So our b here is 6. So it is 6, you divide by 2, you squared everything. Now 2 goes into 6 3 times. So the answer is going to be 9. So what number are we going to add here to this expression? To x squared plus 6x is going to be 9. Okay, so I'm doing now step 3. Okay, what am I doing right now? I'm adding 9. Why? Because I want to complete the square. I want to have a perfect square trinomial. I want to write this expression as a square with exponent of 2. Now, since we are balancing an equation, okay, so whatever you do on the right side, on the left, you have to do that on the right side. Okay, so you're going to add also 9 on the other side. Why? Because an equation equal, they're both the same, and whatever I do on the left, I have to do also on the right. Okay, now step 4, they ask us to factor the left side as a perfect square. Again, we want to have a perfect square. So what is going to be the perfect square then? So you have a square. So what would you write here? Again, you cannot write, it's going to be just x. It cannot be x squared here because x squared is x to the 4th power, not anymore x squared. So make sure you have only x here. Okay. Then you take the b, which is positive 6, and you divide by 2, which is positive 3. So it's going to be positive 3, which is plus 3. How do I get the number to write after the x? You take the b, which is positive 6, half of it is positive 3. Okay. If we're -3, I will put a -3 right here. Then but since the b is positive, so you have +3. So equal to 27 plus 9 is 36. Okay, so now what do we do next? Again, step 5, you're going to take the square root on both sides, and the reason is because you want to undo the square. So let's take the square root on both sides. So this is step 5. So let me rewrite. So you have x plus 3, everything squared equal to 36. So you're going to take the square root on both sides. So alert, alert, alert. So because you have even roots, so when you take the square root on both sides, make sure you include the minus and the plus sign on the right side, of the equal sign. Okay. So now let's continue. So now the square root undo the square. So you're left with x plus 3. Okay. Then you get equal to minus and plus. The square root of 36 is the perfect square. Okay. So what number do I square and I get 36? It's 6. Again, I have two answers. So it's going to, one is positive 6 and the other is negative 6. Okay. So what do we do next? I can continue because the goal is to step 6 is to solve for the variable. So let's do step 6. Solve for the variable. So what do I do here to solve for x? I have to minus 3 on both sides. And I end up with x equal to, first, -3 minus and plus 6. So I want you to see here that you have two numbers to consider. You have one is positive 6 and the other is negative 6. So I'm going to write two equations below. So to solve for x, then the two solutions are going to be x equal to -3 minus, I'm going to start -3 minus 6. And the second one is going to be, x is going to be -3 and plus 6. Okay, let me continue right here. I don't have enough space. So I end up having x equal to -9 and x equal to -2 plus 6 is +3. Okay, and I like to use those single braces. Okay, so it's going to be -9, comma 3. So I like to start with the lowest number, which is going to be a negative number, then the positive number. Okay, and what kind of solution are there? What type of solution? So we see that because there's no square root, you don't see any square root, we call them rational. You have two rational solutions. Okay. So you see that the x and the parabola, we cross the x-axis. This parabola, we cross the x-axis at -9 and at +3. Okay. So now, what are the steps again to solving quadratic equation by completing the square? So first, you're going to collect the variable terms on the left side, okay, and the constant on the right side. In this example here, I combine step and 3. So let's see, for step 1, so I want the x squared and 6s to stay and the -27 to be on the other side of the equal sign. So you have to add 27 on both sides. Okay. Then I don't have to do step 2. Why? Because the coefficient of x squared is already 1. And remember, to complete the square, the x squared, the coefficient of x squared needs to be 1. Okay. Since it's already 1, I don't need to do step 2. So I skip step 2 and move to step 3. And for step 3, you need to complete the square. You have to find out, okay, what number do we add to x squared plus 6s so we can write it as a square. And you find this number by taking b, which represents the number in front of x, which is 6. You divide it by 2 and you square it and you get 9. Okay. Then you add a 9 on both sides because you have an equation, okay, to balance the equation. And you're able to complete this, to write the left side as a perfect square, as a square. Then, okay, the goal is to solve for x. You want to find the x-intercept, okay, or the solutions. So what would you do? To undo the square, you take the square root on both sides. Okay, and when you alert, when you take the square root on both sides, make sure that you include on the right side the minus and the plus symbol. And then you end up with this minus and plus of 6, because the square root of 36. One number do I square and I get 36. Okay. And then the square root and do the square, and you left with x plus 3. Okay. Then the goal is to get x alone. And to get x alone, you have to minus 3 on both sides. And you end up with x equal -3 plus minus 6. And that's why I have to write two equations, because you have two solutions, because the 6 is, you have one 6 that is positive and one 6 that is negative. Okay, and that's why I put one equation with x equal -3 minus 6, and the other one is -3 plus 6. We simplify to -9 and +3. And the solution to this quadratic equation are two rational solutions. Okay, so thank you for listening to watching my video. I'm going to do another example to check your understanding. So thank you. Have a nice day.